Hey, it's Brian with the Midnight Mechanic. Today we're going to show you how to replace the front brakes in your Jeep Cherokee XJ. Now this is our 1999 Jeep Cherokee. The brakes are pretty much the same across all the years with some minor differences, but they're pretty much done exactly the same way. The parts may be just a little bit different, but they all work the same way. The first thing we're going to do is go ahead and get the wheels off. One of the other things to know if you have a 99 XJ like this is the brakes may be a little bit different. Some of them use the same brakes they used in 1998, and some of them use the same brakes that they used in 2000. When we bought this, I went ahead and replaced all the front end parts with 2000 stuff. That way we always knew the correct ones to get. That includes hubs, the unit bearings in the front, the rotors, the calipers, everything in the front. I went ahead and replaced with 2000 stuff. That way there was no confusion over what we needed. So just know that if you have a 99 like this one. The first thing you do is go ahead and remove the caliper. To replace the rotor, you actually have to slide it off. It slides on and is basically held in place by the lug nuts and the wheel mashing against it. The rotor sits over top of it, obviously. So in order to get the rotor off, you have to pull the whole caliper off, brake pads and everything. We're gonna go ahead and remove that caliper and then we can pull our rotor off. To remove the caliper, there's these pins right here that slide in to the back of the spindle. That allows this caliper to ride back and forth as the pads wear. So there's one up here, down around here, there's another one. Go ahead and remove those two and then you can slide your caliper up out of the way. And these are 13mm bolts. With these screws out and set aside, bolts, excuse me, you can remove the caliper. This one is stuck on here really bad because it ground into the rotor a little bit. So it just takes a little bit to get off. Once you get it off, go ahead and set it up out of the way so it doesn't mess up this brake hose. A lot of times you can get a coat hanger or something and hang it up here off the side. We're just going to set it here over here. Normally they stay in place pretty well. Now that you have the caliper off, you can go ahead and just pull the rotor straight off. What you need to do now is you need to press this piston all the way back into the caliper. As the pads wear, it stays out further and further until it gets to a point where, like this one, it went a little bit too far. In order to do that, we have a giant C-clamp that we use. So go ahead and pop off the old calipers, the old brake pads. You can use a screwdriver or whatever you want. We just had that hammer handy. Now that you have it off, leave this pad on because it allows something to push against when you go ahead and put your clamp on. With our clamp on, now we're going to go ahead and press that piston back into it. Take it slowly and it'll move on back there. Don't go too fast because you don't want to damage anything. Just take it slowly like this and keep going until that piston is all the way back into that caliper. You do not need to open the bleeder or open your master cylinder cap. You can just press it back like this until it is completely flush with that caliper. You have to do this or else it will not fit on the rotor when you put your new pads on. Now we can take that off, pop out that old pad and throw it away. Now we can start putting things back together. One of the things you need to notice, it has these little collars that slide in and out. This is what allows the caliper to ride back and forth freely and allows it to pull the pads off of that rotor just a little bit. You have to be careful because you can really tear up these boots, but I normally will slide it back like this, throw a little bit of grease on there, and slide it back in. Go to the other side. Slide a little bit of grease on that side. Slide it back in. Make sure both sides sit on that groove and they're good to go. You're also going to want to wipe off that extra grease so it doesn't get on the pads and foul them up. So the brake pads on these have two different sides. This one you see has just a little elbow sticking out. This one has an actual notch cut into it. Make sure that you line them up correctly because the ones on the other side are the mirror image of this. If you don't have both of these correct, it won't install properly. So make sure you match up the new pads to the ones you took off. What you want to do now is go ahead and reinstall your brake pads. Now you need to make sure that your gloves or your hands are clean so you don't contaminate the surface and make these pads wear out faster. This back one just clips in right into that piston. This front one will clip on like this. You want it to line up like this. Don't sit in here. Make sure it lines up right here, just like that. And we're going to install the rotor. It just slides straight on. Make sure it doesn't get hung up on this bracket or anything. If you get this surface contaminated like we just did, get some brake clean, get a paper towel or anything you can to clean that off. That way you don't contaminate your brake pads. So to install the caliper, there's these two brackets that are built into the spindle. These notches here that we showed you earlier, these bottom ones are going to sit right here on this bracket, and the top one is going to butt right up against it so you can put the bolts in. These little collars we showed you earlier, make sure they're pulled all the way back like this, or else they won't fit over that back bracket there in order to bolt them in. You may have to pull them back a couple times because they keep wanting to slide forward. If you go to get it on and it just won't fit, make sure you can grab this and slide it back just a little bit so it'll get on those brackets. One of the easiest ways I've found to do it is to go ahead and put these lower brackets in, then put the bolt in, then you can rotate it forward and put the other bolt in. It makes it easier than trying to have to figure out how to do it while it's already on there, and it centers them up and you don't have to worry about cross-threading them. Now we're going to go ahead and tighten those bolts down. Try not to hit them with any mechanical power until you absolutely know that they're not going to cross-thread. And if you come with any restriction on it as you're going into full, go ahead and stop doing it so you don't strip anything. Make sure it is plenty tight because you do not want those bolts backing off. Now that you have it all done, all bolted together, make sure there's nothing that looks out of place, and go ahead and clean off your rotor with some brake cleaner. You don't want to contaminate that surface in any way. With that all clean, we can go ahead and reinstall our tire. So the other side is exactly the same as the side you just did. Just go ahead and repeat it on the other side. One of the things I like to do is I like to break in the brake pads after I get them installed. And how I do that is I drive down the road at about 15 miles an hour and I slam on the brakes to full stop. Not lock up the brakes, just like an emergency stop. Then I'll take it up to 35 and do the same thing. Sometimes I'll take it up to 50 and do it, but I like to break them in. It's kind of like a clutch. You don't want to glaze the surface. So go ahead and do that. A lot of people don't do it. Some people say you don't need to do it. I do it all the time. My brake pads last a long time and they seem to stop really well, better than if you didn't do it, I think personally. So go ahead and do that. It's kind of fun, but make sure you do it on a road where there's not enough traffic so nobody runs up in the backside of you. So it's pretty easy to do that. It's really just two bolts. As long as you have the right tools, and you take your time and you make sure you put it back together correctly and clean, you shouldn't have any problems with your brakes. Some people might have a different way of doing it that they might say is better. That's fine as long as you can get it done. I've owned 100 of these Jeeps. I used to own a Jeep shop, so we used to do this stuff all the time. This is the way I did it, and I've never really had a problem with it. We put a ton of miles on this Jeep before those brakes started doing that. So they just last a long time if you use them correctly. If there's anything else you'd like to learn about, any other tools you'd like to see, post down below in the comments. Don't forget to follow us at Instagram and Facebook at The Midnight Mech, TikTok at The Midnight Mechanic, and check our business page, Shuck Auto. We'll see you guys next time.